Hello everybody, Steven here with Cardboard Coalition, and today I figured I'd bring you a review of Lobotomy 2 Manhunt. This is from Titan Forge Games. Got my notes so we can kind of work through it. It's for 1 to 4 player, or 1 to 5 players, it says it down there on the box, and 14 plus, and it takes 60 minutes to 120 minutes, so an hour to 2 hours. So let's go ahead and jump into this, see if we can get a fairly quick review in. All right, so here we go. The theme of it. You're trying to escape the asylum or hell, or who knows. Hell breaks loose. You're an inmate in an asylum when hell breaks loose. Now, the fun part of it is, are you actually just insane, right? And that's what brings a lot of the fun in this. Or is hell actually breaking loose while you're trying to get out of the asylum? All right, so here we go. The mechanics for the game. Modular board, as you can tell, there's only one board out right now, right? Because more boards come out, and I have it kind of cramped in so you guys can kind of try to see as much as you can. I have the extra little guys you're supposed to put out. I kind of always keep them in their tray. They always say to put them out across the board. It takes long enough to set up, but you don't need to do that. All right, so it's modular board, it's dice rolling. You have lots of different dice. You build up dice pools and you roll them when the monsters attack you and you attack monsters, all that kind of stuff. And then storytelling is definitely a storytelling game. You have these cards, you have decks of cards that walk you through a scenario with little stories, tell you what to do, what to go to next, flip to this card. You also have a scenario book right here, which has a lot, it's packed with stories. I think there's 10 stories in it. All right, there's the other boards. You got tons of boards. I have them all hidden back here. You got tons of boards. I think there's 8 boards total that go out as the game plays. As you're playing through a scenario, if you're playing the scenario version, we'll get into that here in a little bit, but boards will come out. You get to a certain point, you hit one of these markers, something like this. You have the little 2. You go ahead, the book will tell you to do something. The card might tell you to do something. You go ahead and do that. Adds a new area, you open a door and you find more stuff, things like that. All right, so modular board, dice rolling, and storytelling. Of course, there's other things, a cooperative. It's a dungeon crawler, or they call it an asylum crawler, right? So it's, I don't know, I did air quotes because it kind of is an asylum crawler. All right, so ease of teaching, ease of play. This is where it gets a little interesting. So I did a how to play video. And it ends up being about 45 minutes to an hour. I think I still need to get in and make the timestamps on it now I think about it, but I'll get them in there so you can jump to certain parts. But the thing is, it tells you, once you read a couple basic concept things, it says stop now, play scenario number 1, and it'll teach you. One of the issues, there's nothing wrong with it, but one of the issues that I found with it is you're trying to learn the rules. You're also flipping back and forth in the scenario book. See, my scenario book's already worn out just from doing 2 scenarios, because you're flipping back and forth. You're going to the back to try to find the rules because they slowly start building on the rules, which I understand the idea, kind of like a video game. As you play through some levels, it slowly starts teaching you how to play the game. It kind of does that, but it can get a little mind-numbing flipping back and forth. You already do it for the story, then you do it for rules, things like that. But overall, once you understand, I would say it's medium, because I was able to explain to other players how to play it fairly quick. Within maybe a round or 2, they were pretty sure they knew what they were doing. I didn't have to walk them through it. They were grabbing the dice they needed or doing what they needed with each thing. So I'd put that at a medium. I don't remember what its rating is. I know it's an 8.0 for like or not like. It's highly rated there, but I don't remember what the weight was on BGG. So let's put it at medium for ease of teaching, ease of play. And then replayability, I would say good, if not really good. Like I said, you have 10 scenarios in here. You have different decks of cards. Different things can happen, causing you to pull different cards at different times. You have the Huntsman track that can change things up. It changes how the game plays. There's 12 cards that are always out. You could see how to play to kind of understand how to do it, but they flip and it changes kind of how the game plays. You have a good stack of weapons. Your basic monsters, you have 1, 2, 3, 2 to 3. The dogs and the sheriffs are definitely basic. The orderlies are considered elites, but they come out so often that they're set up with the basics. In the game, you get some other basic or some other elites in there and stuff. You have a good variety of characters. I don't remember off the top of my head how many of them it was. There's at least seven. There's at least three other. There might be like 8. I think there might be 8. Yeah, sorry, I got a dog walking around. So you have that. And then you also have your disorders, right? And there's stacks. There's stacks of each disorder, and you draw from them. Lots of weapons and stuff to find. So I'd say the replayability is really good. And then if you're not just doing the scenario, and from my understanding, this is how the original Lobotomy kind of played. You have a sandbox, right? And I didn't put the cards out, but you have a sandbox, and it goes up to E. So, God, what is that? 12, I think. I'd have to really think to get my letters down. I'm not going to count and do the alphabet in my head at the same time. But it goes up to I, right, for the chapters that you can play through. So you can do the sandbox. You can play all these different chapters. There's a lot of replayability in just the base box that you have right here. Now, production value. I would say the production value is really good. The board's a nice and thick board. The cards are nice and thick. They're not linen finish, but they're thicker than most cards I felt. The miniatures are really cool. My understanding is Titan Forge Games is mostly a miniature making company. I could be wrong, but that's my understanding. The miniatures are really cool. Nice production on that. As I had showed you with this, with any kind of miniatures game, there's trays in there to put everything in. The box is a little tight, especially if you take the tokens and put them in bags, because everything fit in there flush in when they were just cardboard. You know, you had to punch them out. But everything is really nice. The dice are really nice. There's a nice heft to them. You get custom dice. There's different kinds of dice. You have the different miniatures and stuff like that. So I would put it at the production value is really good. The box is a nice heavy box, but production value is really good. And I think I would say at this point, if you watch the unopening, you know I originally got one that the corner was bashed in, as the bottom corner actually was bashed in really bad, and it was ripped down the side. Titan Forge, after talking back and forth and trying to figure out the best way to replace a box for me without it getting it destroyed, and one of the trays and one of the lids was smashed up, the boards were smashed up, the board tiles that build out were smashed up. So you're trying to figure out how to get it to me. And they basically came up with the idea of, we'll just send you a new copy. And I think I'm going to try to, well, I know I'm going to try to give the other copy away. I don't know if I'm going to do it through YouTube. Maybe when I get the rest of the game. There's more of the Kickstarter that I had backed, which is all the original characters and monsters and stuff. But it's going to take some time for that to get here. Maybe when that video comes out, I'll do some kind of raffle and give away the other copy. But it's going to obviously have some damage. It's missing a trooper, because when I got this fresh copy, it was missing one trooper in there, but I had tons of troopers from the first one, so I just stole one, right? But even with that, the production value of it is really good. All right, so let's get into value and cost, and this is where we get a little tricky. It's hard to find. It was crowdfunded only, from my understanding, which is weird because the back, and I realized I have the box spun around, which I normally don't do. The back is definitely kind of a retail version. You have kind of, and what you mean by retail is you're looking at it, you can see your age on here, you can see what you get in the box, you can see a picture of what's in there. I mean, granted, it doesn't have the board out like the game set up to play, but it gives you a good look at what's in there. So it's kind of retail-esque. Oh, almost dropped it and destroyed the box myself. But so it was crowdfunded, right? Game founded. But when I got it for the base, it was in the Kickstarter 86. It'd be 86 American. It was in euro. I think it was like 79 euro. Late pledge was 109 euro, but you're past both those. Now, when I looked to find a copy on eBay or someone selling it, you had the Gaming Goat had some, but that they had like the all-in everything with the expansions, and it was $4 something. And then on eBay, someone I think was just selling the, I'm looking over there because it's over there off camera, It's the Hell expansion, not the Hell expansion, the Inferno expansion. Let me see if I can see it past the light. I think it's the Inferno expansion. They only had that and they were selling it. So it's kind of hard to get your hands on. But based on the value that I've paid, what I would tell you guys to pay somewhere around $86 to $120 is fair for what comes in this box. So let's look at it at, let's say $90 to $120. I think it's fair. I think it's really fair because you got a lot of little troopers, you got a lot of little dogs, you got a lot of little orderlies, and then when it comes to the other elite monsters, you have a handful of them, like Zombie Soldier, and there's the Shroom Head zombie. There's one where they're kind of like crazy, creepy lady kind of hanging. I forget what she's called. There's a handful of other elite monsters that you run into, and you get 4 big monsters. It might be more. Let me look on the back. It's 4. You get 4 boss monsters, right? That kind of come out in the game and play around. So I would say the value is really good if you got it from a Kickstarter. Also, I would say if you're looking around, you're trying to find someone selling it, it's me, so I would try to pay somewhere around that value. Now, would I play it again? Yes. Did the first scenario by myself to try to learn the game, second scenario with some friends and didn't have time to get all the way through it. Want to dive back into it. It is your basic dungeon crawler, I'll give you that. You're setting up dice pools and you're rolling them, but I love rolling dice. Some of the things are a little different is you have this hunt track that kind of changes things up. You have upgrades, but you get it by collecting up junk, which I guess is kind of just loot. You have the tokens where you get loot and stuff out of them. Kind of your normal fare. I kind of like the spawning system. It's cards. You flip it over. You look at the emblem. You put that monster at that emblem. Right? And then if you get some of the elite monsters, it's going to be tokens that you already have set out on the board. It's going to tell you to do special things, right? I definitely think it's worth the value. And I definitely want to play it again. The one thing I will say is that I would check out our How to Play, or at least watch enough of it to get a good feel, or you're listening to this. If you're not you're a little more sensitive, you're a little more the sensitive type out there. I don't know why you're watching my channel, but if you are, welcome, enjoy. But the whole thing is you're in an asylum and hell breaks loose, or are you just crazy? So your levels up and stuff, these are disorders, right? So schizophrenia, aggression, right? Your disorders, your aggression, schizophrenia, OCD, and the other one's anxiety. If you're the type that feels like the company's making fun of it or making light of it, then you might not like it. For me, it adds to the creepy. It's just there for me, right? So it's definitely something I would play again. It's something that I would ask to play again. Overall, I really like it. I really enjoy it. Like I said, I went all in on it. So I got some expansions, which give me some more characters. There's Bob Ross, right? You can play as Bob Ross if you get one of the expansions. So I really enjoy it. I say it's a game it's worth checking out. It's worth, if you get a chance to at least play it. If you can find it for a good price, a decent price, and for me a decent price is somewhere around the Kickstarter or late pledge amount, I think you're going to be satisfied with it. As long as you're not someone who is bothered by the theme of the game. And it's a little bit on the rules, but if I remember right, they're Polish, if I remember right. And so there's some translation problems that happen, and there's some slippage in letting you know what card to pull when. I mean, it's common sense what happens next, but it's better to actually have it there. But beyond that, I really like it. Would love to play it again. Can't wait to play it again. I think you should check it out if you get a chance to find it, and check it out. Play it at a store, play it with a friend, something like that. Or come back around. I'm thinking in my head, maybe by the time I get the rest of the Kickstarter, I'll just go ahead and put up the other box. I probably have to do it for America because sending outside of America is going to be really expensive. But set it up and have people put in their names and just do a raffle and ship it out to them. They'll be missing a trooper, like I said, and it'll be a little banged up. But you get a ton of troopers in here and it'd be a free game. So that's my review of Lobotomy 2 Manhunt by Titan Forge Games. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm Steven with Cardboard Coalition. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.